This is training mission number 13 for AV8B Harrier. This is about sensors and target designation.
Welcome to the Target Designation Training Mission, in which we will cover the use of the many systems and sensors on the Harrier to identify, track, and accurately employ weapons, maintain speed of around 300 knots, and enable the AFC. Target designation is the action taken to identify the target or offset location to the weapon system. This allows for the employment of computed weapon delivery modes in auto, but can also aid in target detection for other delivery modes and can be performed in each of the master modes except AA master mode. There are three primary methods of self-designating targets, using the INS, the angle rate bombing system in conjunction with the dual mode tracker in TV mode, and finally the AN AAQ-28 Lightning II targeting pod. Let's begin with the INS. If the target coordinates are known, the most straightforward way of designating it is by creating a waypoint or an offset to a waypoint. In this example, your first target is a railway bridge near Tagaloni. Its coordinates are on your kneeboard. Go ahead and create a new waypoint using these coordinates and let me know when it's done.
Okay, so we need to create a waypoint here. So we go to data. It's waypoint 1, but we add a new waypoint, maximum possible, so it will be waypoint 4. We go to position, and the position is north 32 32 23. Enter. Easting is 0 4 1 4 7 1 3. Enter. Elevation 262. Elevation 262. Enter. So now we have it.
Good, now make sure that the waypoint steering is boxed next to push button 11 and that the newly created waypoint is selected as an active one.
Yes.
Now select Designate using push button 1.
Caution.
You will notice that the Designate button becomes boxed and that the waypoint changes to the target diamond. The waypoint data block now also reflects the target data.
Okay.
Turn toward the target and navigate to it using the cues on your HUD and EHSD page. The steering arrow will be displayed if your relative bearing is greater than 15 degrees. If you are in air-to-ground master mode, the steering arrow will be replaced by the aircraft steering line, or ASL, for an auto delivery once within 15 degrees of the target. The designated waypoint or waypoint offset appears on the HUD as the target designation or TD diamond symbol. Let me know when you acquire the bridge visually.
That's the arrow. If we go to air to ground, it's an arrow, but I think I don't have any weapon selected. So let's see if I have master arm on, and I have some weapons. So this, yeah, now it's changed. Okay. So let's disarm. No weapon selected. Just want to anyway. And we go back to nav mode. Okay, so we see the bridge.
Good. You can also use waypoint offset in a similar manner. The most common situation for that would be using bearing in degrees true and distance in nautical miles from a visually significant landmark, easily identified from the air. The only difference is that you need to box the offset steering instead of waypoint. The rest of the procedure remains exactly the same. On a side note, waypoints are never set on friendly units as a rule, due to concerns over friendly fire. If the waypoint was accidentally used in lieu of an offset, it would be a bad day all around, so pilots make it a point to never enter friendly locations in a manner that could accidentally find its way into a bomb. Finally, the pilot can also transfer a designation to a waypoint offset by overflying the waypoint and pressing the Waypoint Overfly or WOF push button on the UFC. Depending on whether a waypoint offset is available, WOS or waypoint may be designated. This action will automatically enter the AG master mode. The namesake INS designation is also known as a HUD designation. These terms are often used interchangeably. This is a visual designation requiring the target to be in the HUD field of view and the INS sensor mode selected. To select this mode, push the sensor select switch forward once. You should see the INS information in the top left corner of the MPCD.
Is in the yes, and on the left and on the right.
To display the TD diamond on the HUD, press the TDC switch. Designation occurs when you release the TDC. The diamond will appear in the middle of the velocity vector. You can now move the diamond around the HUD with the TDC. Holding the TDC down in the action mode slews quickly. Slewing the TDC normally in no action mode allows for refinement of a designation point. Strive to keep the designation at the intersection of the target and the ground to avoid entering false range information.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, and then if I press this, I should be able to but it's moving the same speed, but anyway, with no action in action. I don't know why. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, let's try this in practice. Press the sensor select switch aft to exit the INS mode. Select waypoint 2 and fly toward it.
Press sensor to exit the INS. Actually, it's still in INS. I think this is something changed in the mission, but anyway, let's go to waypoint 2. And we are still in designate mode, that's why the waypoint is diamond.
Although you can slew the diamond around the HUD, the preferred method is to steer the aircraft to overlay the velocity vector on the target. And when they are coincident, tap the TDC, that is, press and release, to designate. Your next target is a warehouse in the vicinity of waypoint 2. It is marked with red smoke. Using the method I just described, you will designate it and then sweeten the designation as you get closer.
It's pretty far. There's a small problem. I'm moving this right by pressing left and moving it left by pressing right. I don't know if I have the buttons reversed. However, the axis, this is with axis, this works fine. So maybe the buttons are also reversed now. Okay, so they say it's So let's aim velocity vector to the warehouse. Bang. Now it's set. Now just refine it. Seems to be moving the same speed with or without action or no action.
Push the sensor select switch forward once to return to INS mode. Now, maneuver your aircraft to overlay the velocity vector onto the target structure. When ready, press and release the TDC switch to designate it.
Okay, it's the same. Okay.
Now, use no action slewing to place the diamond at the base of the structure where it intersects the ground.
But it's the same speed.
Very good. Let me know when you are ready to move on to the next method.
It was supposed to be finer, but it looks like it's the same. Let's try with buttons. Maybe the buttons change. So this is without action, no action pressed. This is the speed. And let's try with the action pressed. Looks the same to me. Anyway.
We will now cover the ARBS/TV designation method, which is similar in practice to the INS method but uses the dual mode tracker in TV mode. First, make sure that the DMT is enabled on the miscellaneous switch panel.
It's enabled.
Now press the sensor select switch aft twice. You should see ARBS/TV visible on the right display.
This is something. I think there is something wrong with the mission because the TV is not working. Turn it off. Now it's switching from laser to laser track to in. Really strange thing. Very strange. In any other mission it does work. Okay, so this is really strange. Why is that not working? So this is the T-pod. Let's see the commands. So now we are in T-pod mode. So it works. Long press switches to INR. Long press switches back to AR. Now short press switches AR, PT, empty. Now let's do rear toggle. Has something locked, so it doesn't matter. Can adjust, I think, the Contrast, luminosity, now it's covered by the aircraft. This is change 4. Now we are in TV mode, and now TV is active. I don't know why I had to go through the T-pod. This is strange. So now the TV is active. Let's see, where's the waypoint? Oh. So on the opposite side. Okay. Oh, switched back. Okay.
The DMT in TV mode is a daytime-only device and has no night vision capability. It affords the pilot with a 6 times magnified image of the target. The magnification is fixed and cannot be changed by the pilot. With no target locked, the crosshairs are open, and an aircraft symbol is visible in the middle. Before we practice using the DMT, let's have a look at the different options displayed on the MPCD. When boxed, night disables the DMT TV video and shows only the DMT without video display.
Yes, I know.
It is used to prevent the ARBS video from temporarily blinding the pilot during night conditions. LST scan pattern has 3 different modes: wide, narrow, and HUD. It tells the DMT which pattern to use in search of the laser spot.
Okay.
Code enables the UFC for laser code input.
Okay.
The last option we are concerned with is filter, or FLTR, above push button 20. It selects which TV filter is used, yellow or red. The yellow filter is designed for low light conditions, while the red filter is for normal light conditions. The rest of the options displayed are standard for other pages and are covered in other lessons. Turn to waypoint 3. Your target, a frigate, should be in the vicinity.
So I think it's a problem about if you are aiming at where the designation is, because now I am in designate mode, and I think this is the problem. It's just trying to activate only when the target is in view, in front of the aircraft, that is. Okay, so we are towards waypoint 3, 47 miles out.
Now, the way to use the DMT in TV mode is very similar to an INS designation. Position the velocity vector on your target, and then press and release the TDC in order to lock it. However, in this situation, it might be difficult to visually acquire the ship. Let's combine 2 different methods. Make sure that waypoint 3 is selected on your left display and press push button 1 in order to designate it.
It is designated. Come on, man, he's designated.
You should now see the designation diamond on your HUD. Place the velocity vector on it and press sensor select switch aft twice to select the TV mode.
Is the velocity vector on and press selected switch twice. Okay, so from this, now it's a diamond. We are not. It's switching directly to TV mode. Okay. Let's try on the side. Oh, it's locked on. Okay, I don't select the TV mode.
Look at your right MPCD and use the TDC to locate your target if it is not immediately visible. Place the crosshairs in the middle of the ship and release the TDC to lock it.
Okay, now target is not really visible. So let's increase contrast and gain. Okay. So if I press the TDC, I can readjust it. No action doesn't seem to do any difference anyway.
Again, as you get closer, you can use the no action slewing in order to sweeten the lock. The DMT is capable of tracking both stationary and moving targets.
Really? It was
Now,
not
the dual
supposed
mode
to.
tracker has the dual part in the name for a reason. You can also use it in the laser spot tracker or LST mode. This will be covered in more detail in the Maverick training mission, and we won't be focusing on it today. Instead, we will take a closer look at the targeting pod and its capabilities. Please turn back towards waypoint 2 and let me know when you are ready to continue. The AN-AAQ-28 Lightning II is a multi-sensor targeting and navigation system developed to provide the AV8B night attack with precision strike capability against surface targets. The T-Pod is equipped with a charge-coupled device, or CCD camera, and infrared thermal imaging system to generate video on either MPCD. It can be mounted on a centerline pylon or on stations 3 and 5. However, the wing stations are rarely used in practice, as the pod is more prone to masking and requires heavy trim or the use of counterbalance weight, often an unused 500-pound bomb, on the other side. In order to bring up the T-Pod on the MPCD, press push button 18 and then push button 13. You will see some initialization and bit data appear on the screen and disappear after some time. This may take as long as 4 minutes. By default, the T-Pod is in standby mode, indicated by the underlined STBY legend next to push button 15.
Caution, caution.
The T-Pod has many different modes and functions, but we will cover only the most relevant ones here. You can read about the others in the manual. Let's start with the data display mode. Go ahead and press push button 2. A number of new options are now visible, but the important one for us are SYM Plus and SYM Minus, available under push buttons 3 and 4 respectively. You can use them to increase and decrease symbology intensity. OK, exit the data display mode by pressing push button 2 once again. Let's exit the standby mode. In order to do so, use push button 15.
We are already in operation mode. Anyway.
Now let's talk about the T-Pod control modes. These are Aircraft HOTAS control mode, T-Pod slew control mode, and T-Pod HOTAS control mode. Aircraft HOTAS control mode is the default, indicated by TDC
Caution.
deselected, not underlined, next to push button 14.
What does control mode is?
In this mode, the TDC does not move the T-Pod, but instead, the T-Pod is assigned to the aircraft's other sensors, meaning INS, DMT, or IR-MAV. The T-Pod is slaved to the aircraft's designated target point, or, if there is none, caged to the bore sight position. Let's see how it works in practice. Press the sensor select switch aft twice to enter the DMT TV mode.
It's just once. Anyway.
Now use the TDC to move it around. You'll notice the cue on the HUD as well as the TD diamond wherever you release the TDC. Switch back to the T-pod on the right MPCD, exit the standby mode and make sure that the TDC is not underlined. Now slew the TDC again. On the HUD, you will see your usual DMT cross. Once you designate a new target, the T-pod will automatically slave to it. Also, you can use the sensor select switch normally to change between different designation modes, for instance, INS and DMT. The second mode is the T-pod slew control mode. It is entered by pressing push button 14. Do it now. When activated, TDC next to push button 14 will appear underlined. In this mode, the TDC now controls the T-pod movement, and the aircraft's other sensors are slave to the T-pod stare point. Again, let's try it out in practice. Using the TDC, slew the T-pod to an easily recognizable object or area. Let me know when you selected a location.
Okay, let's poke on this chimney.
Now press the sensor select switch aft to enter the DMT TV mode.
Does not work. And it's normal, the things changed. Oh my god. I'm trying to see that chimney. Looks like it's that chimney. So this is empty. Yeah, I think the mission is older than the last update. A lot of things have changed. So I cannot switch to... I think I can switch by double tapping the sensor select down. Let's try to change it now. So let's just check out that. Yeah, that's the chimney. Okay, so now I'm in TV.
You will notice that the DMT is looking at the same spot as the T-pod. Additionally, if you try to move it using the TDC, it will automatically bounce back to the T-pod's stare point.
I think the expression, he actually said the sensor select down, and it means back to me. That actually it's push down. You notice that DMT is looking at the same spot as the T-pod. Addition, you'll try to move using the T, it will automatically bounce back to the T-pod. Okay, I noticed that.
Finally, we have T-pod HOTAS control mode. In order to enable it, you have to double-click or press the sensor select switch down twice in less than 0.8 seconds. If you do it correctly, you should see the HTS legend next to push button 14.
I see MTC, so yeah.
In this mode, both the TDC and sensor select switch are used to control the T-pod, allowing you to operate it without releasing your throttle and stick. You slew the pod using the TDC, but you can also use short and long presses of the sensor select switch to change various pod functions, like area or point track mode, which pod sensor to use, IR polarity, and so on. You can exit HOTAS control mode by again pressing the sensor select switch twice in rapid succession, exiting the T-pod MPCD page for longer than 15 seconds, or by selecting another sensor. The full list of commands is in your kneeboard. Practice them and let me know when you're ready to move on.
Slew the T-pod use TDC, but you can also use short and long presses of the sensor select switch to change various pod functions. Okay. Area, point, track. Like this. Area, point track. Point track now. Empty, I don't know what it is. This is a polarity. Getting the sensor select, exiting the T-pod. The full list is in my kneeboard, I see. So DMT, targeting pod, TDC, aircraft autos control mode. Okay, so these are the controls. Doesn't do anything if I press long. Hard reject, I don't know if it does something. Select. This is TV, this is T-pod. Then short area and point track. Area, point track. Empty, I don't know what it is. This is something new, probably. Long select INR. Short toggle, left short toggles between wide and narrow. Narrow, wide. So, I'm again masked a bit. Doesn't matter. Some power. Long enters. If I press long, it enters laser. I don't have the laser, probably laser track or something like that. So I cannot switch. I switch just the field of vision. Anyway, let's try right. Short toggles between white hot, black hot, white hot, black hot. That's correct. Long toggles between CCD and FLIR. Okay, now it's CCD, FLIR. Correct, this works, correct? White hot, black hot. And CCD does not have white hot, black hot. Okay. And then short select T-pod video on the MPCD and return to normal aircraft HOTAS mode. I don't see any change. If I press short, forward. And long has no function anyway. Select on the MPCD and return normal aircraft HOTAS mode. Yeah, this is something that is don't know. Some things don't really work anyway.
The targeting pod operates in two visual modes, CCD or FLIR. You can switch between them using push button 5. Make sure you are in CCD and let me know when you're ready to proceed to the different push button options available. Push button 1 switches between wide and narrow field of view. The currently selected mode is underlined. Push button 2 enters the data page which we covered earlier. Push button 3 and 4 are used to zoom in and out. The zoom level ranges between 0 and 9 and is displayed between the push buttons. Please remember that you cannot zoom in or out using the HOTAS even when in the HTS mode. Push buttons 6 through 9 are used to control the laser. We'll cover these in the final part of this lesson. Push button 14 shows the currently active control mode. Aircraft HOTAS, T-Pod SLU, or T-Pod HOTAS.
This is something that is not working.
Push button 15 is used to switch the T-Pod in and out of standby mode. Push button 16 slaves the pod sensor to the aircraft's designated target. Push button 17 enters laser spot search, or LSS mode. The T-Pod automatically transitions to LST, or laser spot track mode, upon detecting a properly coded laser energy spot. Obviously, this mode is very useful when finding targets painted with a laser by a JTAC or your wingman.
This one also is, I don't know. It's PIP and does nothing.
Finally, push buttons 19 and 20 govern the track mode of the T-Pod. INR is the Inertial Navigation Reference Track mode. It is used to track the selected INS point that the sensors are looking at rather than a specific image or target. We will return to it shortly. Area and point track are mutually exclusive. Area keeps the T-Pod locked onto a specific spot, while point can be used to track moving targets. The problem with both, however, is that if the target which you are following gets masked, for instance by a hill, cloud, or your own aircraft, the pod can inadvertently begin tracking the intervening object. In an inertial or INR track, however, it will still attempt to track the intended spot on the ground even during masking. Therefore, if you are following something in AP or PT and you can see that the view is going to be blocked, your instinct should be to temporarily switch to INR until the target is visible again. Do note that an inertial track may drift over time. Okay, when you're ready, press push button 5 again to switch to FLIR mode and we'll cover some additional features. Push button 11 now displays the WH/BH legend, which stands for white hot/black hot, and changes the IR polarity accordingly. Some objects may be more visually distinct in one or the other polarity, so it is important to switch between them occasionally and choose the polarity best suited to the target. Push button 12 and 13 are used to increase and decrease the IR gain between 1 and 8. The rest of the buttons are the same as CCD. Now let's move on to the final part of the lesson and cover the use of the laser. The T-Pod is equipped with 3 different operating modes: the training laser, or TRNL, laser marker, or MRKR, and laser designator, or LASR. You can switch between them using push button 9 in the top row. Laser marker is used for marking the target with an IR beam visible through night vision goggles. Laser designator is used to perform range-finding operations, guide laser-guided weapons to their target, and can be used to mark targets for LSS-equipped aircraft. Training laser does not emit energy. It is only used, as its name implies, for training purposes, and dry fires with appropriate cockpit symbology. Once you select the desired laser operation, you can use push button 6 to arm it or return it to safe mode. With either the marker or designator selected, you can use push button 7 to perform a short duration laser range measurement of less than 3 seconds. If in marker mode, the T-Pod will automatically switch to laser for the duration of the range finding measurement.
And this thing, it's what?
Finally, when the selected type of laser is armed, you may fire it using push button 8. When the beam is active, the fire legend is underlined. When selected again, it stops firing. Lastly, one final designation method before we end this mission, the target of opportunity, allowing for low-level head-up designation of unplanned targets. When pushed on the UFC, TOO creates a designation directly below the aircraft as the target, automatically turning on the radar altimeter, switching to air-to-ground master mode, and, if a weapon was previously selected, calling up the last weapon and delivery program for immediate attack.
So it's finally activated after I switch the master arm on. Lastly, one final designation method before we end this mission, the target of opportunity line for low level head-up display. Push the officer to below. Okay.
And that's about it. You can undesignate a target at any time by pressing the undesignate button on the control stick, by pressing the designate button on the EHSD display, or entering AA master mode. We'll be covering the other minor designation methods in other lessons. If you have any fuel left, feel free to practice the different methods of target designation. There are some targets on our usual range next to waypoint 1. You can exit the mission at any time.
Okay. Quite a long and complex mission, and I think some of the parts don't work anymore. They need to be updated somehow. So let's see if I can undesignate. No, I'm pressing the undesignate button.
I hate to crush your dreams, but the Super Death Ray armor melting laser beam did not make it to the final version of the Lightning II targeting pod. However, DCS does have an active modding community, so I don't know. Maybe with a cheat code? Perhaps up, up, down, down, left, right, BA select start? Maybe? I don't know, just throwing ideas out here.
Cringy joke. Okay, so how do we undesignate this? Firing, okay, but still I want to reset the target. How do I do that? Imagine TV. I need to undesignate. This is really... So to put the viewfinder, the TV camera back to front, I need to undesignate, and then the camera activates. If the target or the waypoint the DMT was supposed to look at is in the back of the plane, it will not show anything. So these are some updates, I think. For example, now I can lock, I can move left and right. Oh, look, this one works left and right correctly. This is funny. And now if I press undesignate, it will move back to center. So now also the T-pod is deselected. Now locking on area. Point track. Okay, so let's... Oh, this is interesting. So now I'm in T-pod, lock. Okay, it locks automatically. Now it works to undesignate. So there is another submode or something that prevents me to undesignate and recenter. Okay, so the target of opportunity now, which is this target of opportunity, let's say is this tall building. Let's turn towards it. Now we will pass over it. Something like that. It has to be under the plane. This is so silly. Okay. So, and then if we press slave, did it slave to that point? Let's see. It was not that building, but anyway, let's see where is it.
Landing gear. Landing
Yes,
gear.
oh no, it's just all over the place. No. So this is the laser search track, TV. Okay. So it works, but again, when everything is deselected, you are not supposed to be in T-pod mode. Okay, let's switch back to navigation, master alarm off. Yeah, a lot of variables.
Landing gear.
So-
Landing gear.
Yeah, that's about it. I think a lot of things are still not working in the mission. The developers said in one thread on their forum about this mission that he will change something, but it's 2 years since then. So, I don't know.
Altitude. Altitude. Limiter off. Caution. Caution.
Oops. I think somebody hit my plane with that car. Should be fine. Okay, so I guess next training missions are with real ordnance.